Cannot wait to try to make this into pumpkin soup tonight. Oh yeah. Hey friends, welcome to my channel. This is Julia Rice. So I saw this super cool pumpkin bowl soup on Kylie Jenner's story and I decided to recreate it. So this is my first time. I hope you guys enjoy and let's get started. First, we're going to start by making the sage butter for the steaks. Now that that's melted, we are going to start adding our spices. We have our fresh sage that we're going to dice up into small bits. Let's get some sage, thyme, some tarragon, and some black pepper, minced garlic, lemon for some acidity, rosemary. Okay, let's mix all that up. Now we're gonna take that solid butter into that warm butter and cut it in 2 pieces so that we can mix it up and make the warm butter solidify more so we can really create a more room temperature sage butter for the steak. I'm gonna add some minced garlic so it can really soak into the flavors. You really want to roll and press into that lemon so that it's easier for you to get the juices. So cut that lemon in half. Now let's juice that lemon. Add a desired amount of lemon juice to your butter sage mixture. Next, press that solid butter into that melted butter and mix those flavors in together. Look at that. It's getting more and more solid. The butter will be the perfect texture to spread onto the steak. We're smashing into those butter bits, really making it smooth. Adding a little pink Himalayan salt, just for taste. Now a little secret ingredient, some pecan liquid smoke. It actually has 0 calories, no sugar, but the best taste to really get that smoky pecan barbecue, like restaurant style flavor. Now let's prep our pumpkins by washing them. I like to use my vegetable scrubber in my mix of vinegar and baking soda. Today we're using purple kale. It has a robust flavor and we're taking off the leaves from the stem to clean them. Prep our other vegetables for the soup by cutting our green peppers. Let's get them diced up nicely. They're just gonna be for flavor to the pumpkin soup. I just wanted to show you how small I'm dicing up the green peppers. The maple syrup sausages, we're taking off the casing and we're getting that sausage out. This is more for flavoring. Again, this is not the meat in our soup, but this is just to bring the flavors together and make the pumpkin and nutmeg flavor stand out with the maple and meat sausage flavoring. It's gonna be delicious. After we've taken the meat out the sausage, let's get those sausage into smaller pieces so that they'll be easier to cook in the pan. Let's move on to the actual spices for the pumpkin soup. We've got ground coriander, pumpkin spice, ground cumin, thyme leaves. I'm pre-mixing the spices so that it's easy cleanup, no mess, no fuss. Even though it's nutmeg and pumpkin spice, I'm going to add nutmeg to add to the flavor. Now a dash of paprika to add that peppery spice to the pumpkin, therefore balancing out that pumpkin cinnamon flavor. Add a dash of pepper for taste. Add just a little bit more of that liquid smoke, pecan flavor. Put it in a small side dish so that it's not going to interrupt my spices flavor, and I can add it later. Now let's add some minced garlic to the dry spice rub. Well, dry spices for the pumpkin soup. Add some red chili pepper flakes. some turmeric powder. We got some vegan Parmesan cheese that we're going to save for the side later. That's going to be our topping, as well as the organic pumpkin seeds. We have some heavy whipping cream or chicken broth. You can use vegetable broth also to add to the soup later. Pour those liquids into a bowl, and we're going to save that for later. Mix it in. This is our fresh purple kale that we are about to cut up into smaller pieces for our pumpkin soup to really add that savory flavor. And you can't go wrong with adding more dark leafy greens to your vegetables to your diet. It's so good for skin, hair, nails. It just starts from within. So if you want to be beautiful, feel healthy, happy, you got to eat right. Now that that's chopped up into small bits, we're going to put that back into our bowl so we can save that for later to add into the pumpkin soup. I had my strong husband cut these small pumpkins for me because that doesn't seem like something I need to be trying to do. So right now we're just brushing the olive oil and salt pepper mixture onto the pumpkins that we have carved and opened up. They're all cleaned, washed, and ready to bake for about, I want to say 25 minutes at 350. So that they're soft and you can actually eat the insides of them. So cool. And then you want to cut up the other pumpkins into bits, and that is what you're going to use for your actual soup. I'm just making sure everything is coated so that it helps out the flavor again of the pumpkin soup. We are ready to actually formulate the pumpkin soup. Yay! So let's get those green peppers into the pan, get them cooking and tenderized so that flavor really comes up. Now add the sausage to the pan, and we're going to dice that sausage up into small bits. You want to keep your heat at a manageable temperature, not too hot and not too low, because slow cooking your food really brings the juices and the flavors out. So dice up that meat, dice it. I'm just being silly. Cooking can be fun too. So let that sausage turn brown. You don't want it fully cooked. Now add those glazed pumpkin to the oven at 350 for about 25 minutes. Again, you want the inside soft. Next, add that purple kale to the pan. You want all your base flavors to cook down first before you add your pumpkin, your spices, and your liquids. Now we are ready to get our steak prepared, and we are taking that butter that we had at room temperature with the herb and sage mixes and spreading that all over the steak, because when we sear that steak, we want the butter and the herbs to really melt through. Now the pumpkins are ready. I'm going to leave the other pumpkins in the oven just a little bit longer because it won't hurt. I am just checking the texture of the pumpkins, making sure that they are soft enough to just scrape the inside of the pumpkin out. I'm scooping the pumpkin from the pumpkin skin. You can actually use the pumpkin skin, but I'd rather not. I just feel like that would be a little more difficult to puree, and I don't want to make it more difficult than what it is already. Again, I'm just showing you how I scoop the pumpkin out with a big spoon, just scraping it away from the skin of the pumpkin. It's actually super easy because the pumpkin's soft. I am taking advantage of the temperature and the texture of the pumpkin by mixing it up with my hand and just smoothing it out before I had to blend it up so that it's easier consistency to blend. Now let's mix this pumpkin puree and blend it up. I use just a little bit of my spices mixed with the chicken broth and the cream so that it liquefies more. We are finishing that blending process and just repeating it until we are done with the pumpkin puree. Then I wanted to mix up the puree with water so that way it liquefies and makes the soup thinner. Let's add that pumpkin puree and the chicken broth with the cream to a simmer so that can thin out and thicken at the same time. I want to move that sauce around so that you're really watching it and that it just brings the flavors together. Now let's add that kale, sausage, green pepper mixture to the pumpkin puree, and we're going to let that cook so that it pulls all the flavors in together. You want to fold your soup in together so that way the flavor and the soup doesn't break, so it doesn't burn either. After tasting it, I'm gonna add just a little more lemon to really give it that acidity and just make it more gourmet and restaurant quality. Again, we're folding in that soup so that it doesn't burn and that the flavors really simmer together. We have our cast iron on high in the back of the stove, and we have just put our sage butter covered steaks, and we are just cooking it through. I want the inside to just be a little rare, a little pink, not crazy, but just to give it that texture on the outside and flavor and juice on the inside. And when the steak is close to near done, you want to add the rest of that sage butter on top to really make sure it's moist. Let's grab those resting pumpkins so that we can plate them and get ready to serve our food. We are going to take our soup with a spoon and place it directly inside the pumpkin. The inside of the pumpkin is super soft, so you can actually scrape the inside of the pumpkin while you eat it. And let's top the pumpkin with just a teeny bit of Parmesan cheese, which is vegan, and some pumpkin seeds, just to make it cute. Add a little bit of texture too. I think Kylie's had a bay leaf topped on hers, but cute garnishes are cute garnishes either way. So let's add that steak to the plate on the side. How cute, a balanced meal, some protein, and a vegetable side. Now everything is plated. It is all done. Look how gorgeous those pumpkins looked. They look good enough just to bite right into, and you get to open it up. How adorable is it? Oh my gosh. I think the only thing next time I'm going to do is just make sure I thin out the pumpkin soup more so it's a little more runny like soup and not so hearty, but the flavor was all there. My husband absolutely loved it. The steak was perfect on the inside. It was such a fun, perfect Halloween treat to make. So if you decide to make it, make sure you tag me, like, comment, and subscribe, friends, and tell me what else you guys like to see, and just hope you enjoy. So see you next time, friends. Bye.